When we're talking about how to manage your company, you want to figure out what are your profit and losses. And that's where having a budget comes in. A budget is going to be the income that you have coming in, and that can be a number of things. That can be the money that you make at your job. It could be Social Security or disability if you are disabled. It could be child support. It could be alimony. It could be a side hustle. You could have a second job. Anything that brings money into your house, that's going to be your revenue, your income. The expenses are going to be pretty much what it costs to live. And the expenses can range. Everybody, again, is going to be different. So the main things that you're going to see on there is probably going to be rent, your electricity bill, your water bill, your phone bill, car note, insurance, pet care, child care. The list can go on. So when you think of budgeting, there are many different ways. You can be old school like me, put it on pen and paper, write out all of your expenses on one side, the money that you have coming in on the other side, and take that money that's coming in, subtract the money that's going out, and hopefully at the end of the month, you have more money left over. And what is the point of having a budget? Your money is supposed to work for you. They do it for one or three reasons. One, to pay expenses, to run the business. Two, to put money aside for rainy day situations or for opportunities, or to invest. And we work in the same manner. The income that you have coming in is going to serve those three purposes.
Good evening, everyone. Hello, it is Dr. Fabien with Bright Idea, and I'm so glad that you're here because we have so much information to get to you tonight that we're going to get started right now. This event is sponsored by the Early Learning Coalition of Hillsborough County. And one of the things that Hillsborough County wanted to do was to make sure that its parents are getting all the information, tools, and support that you need to be successful in this journey of parenting your children. They asked you what you wanted to know about, and you gave us a list of topics that you wanted to learn about. We've talked about everything from what do you do when you suspect your child has a disability to how do I help my child who's struggling in school? How do I take care of myself in this process? And tonight, we're talking about how you can take the money that comes in, make it make sense. It can make sense. You understand what I mean? All right. One of the things that I want to make sure you know is we have to be respectful. We're coming here and we're bringing all of our different backgrounds and our different experiences. We're sharing tonight because we want to learn from each other and we want to support each other. Guys, we all came here to learn and we're here to be a supportive community. This is a safe space for us to be able to share. So let's do that. Also, be engaging. Our presenter tonight is going to walk you through some exercises. They're going to tell you about some things that you can do, give you some resources you can put into place right now. Now, without further ado, let me get into presenting to you Mr. David Watson II. Y'all, what a treat you have here tonight. Let me tell you about David. David began his journey into personal finance about 10 years ago. His goal, his purpose is to help people find the balance of enjoying today's lifestyle, but also preparing for tomorrow's possibilities while all at the same time protecting their investments, protecting their finances. So you're in the right place if that's at all anything that you're interested in. David is passionate about doing this work, and he does this work within the community. He spent 3 years teaching financial literacy to students, but now you can find him helping small business owners connecting and growing through the efforts that he gives to the African American Chamber of Commerce. So you already know about me. I don't have to get into telling you more about me. I'm Dr. Rolanda. We've been together for 7 weeks now, so I'm well aware of who you are and you're well aware of who I am. But let's give David, our special guest, a round of applause. Welcome, David. Welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. So tonight we're going to talk about the importance of budgeting, of money management, of watching your budget, of saving and investing, and debt management and credit. those are the hot button topics that you said you really wanted to know more about. We have a specialist here who's going to give you all the details. So I'm going to take this opportunity to hand it over to you, David.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Look, if I ever come out with a rap album, you are definitely going to be my hype man. I want to welcome everyone here in attendance. I have you here to about 8 o'clock, so I will do my best to pack in as much information based upon the things that you were wanting to learn. Just a little background on me. I've been in the financial industry for about 10 years now. I've been with Goodwill Industries for the last 3 years. Before that, I worked with Merrill Lynch and a company here in Central Florida, because I'm in Orlando as well, called Smart Wealth. I've been on both ends of the spectrum, where you have individuals who make 6 and 7 figures in terms of their income and are still trying to figure out what to do with their money, to what I do today, which is help low income individuals and families that work at Goodwill create budgets, create financial goals, and figure out how to make things work for the next day. And the thing that I found out that people have in common is that they don't want to run out of money, whether you make $1 million or whether you make 30,000. That's pretty much the common theme. And so we're going to jump into what it looks like to master money, to master money management. So I want to tell you a story that I believe is relevant to get this party started. Back when I was a little boy, my dad had a VHS tape of Bruce Lee, Enter the Dragon, that paints a picture of how old I may be. I hope you get a good understanding of just how old I am. So, little boy, I'm watching this movie of Bruce Lee, and that was my hero. And there was this one scene where he is fighting a bunch of bad guys. He has a shirt off, and he has this weapon called nunchucks. And he's just up there, and he's like whooping their tail left and right, just swinging. And I'm like totally engrossed in the movie. And I was like, I want to be able to do that. My father had the foresight to get me some nunchucks, but make sure that they were plastic. So what do? I watch the movie again. I go outside and I'm swinging my nunchucks. Ah, ah, ah. And what happens? I'm going left, I'm going right, down. And what ends up happening? I hit myself. Yes. Hit myself in the nether regions, and it did not feel good at all. Why am I sharing this story with you? Because in the hands of a master, nunchucks or a weapon can be a tool that can protect you, that can dominate what you're up against. However, in the hands of a novice, in the hands of someone who's not prepared, it can hurt you. And money can do the same. If you know how to handle money, it is one of the best tools. But if you don't, it can cause a lot of heartache, a lot of depression, a lot of destruction. Sometimes I wonder, why is managing money so difficult? And just a quick caveat, if you see me looking up or to my left, is to help me stay on track, because again, we are going to cover quite a bit of information. When it comes to money, I was taught that you go to school, you make good grades so you can go off, use that education to get a good job. And that's where it stops. And what happens? You got your job. What are some of the responsibilities that come into play that involves you having to use your money? And just type it in the chat. Yes, bills, bills, bills. Can you pay my bills? What else? Food. Yes, my weakness. Food. All right. School. Yes. Getting married, having kids. Yes, all those things pertain to life kicking in. And we're forced to figure out how to make life work with this income that we have once we now are making money. And believe it or not, the name of the game when it comes to managing money is simple, but not easy. And there is a difference. Simple in terms of, in order to be successful with managing money, you have to do one thing, which is make more or bring in more than what goes out. So your income needs to be more than your expenses. That's it. If you can do that, you've won. But as we know, the list of things that were mentioned, as far as the bills, family, lifestyle, all those things compound on your decision of how to use your money. It really comes down to the emotional component of it, the behavior, the influences, your environment. Think about how you grew up. What was your first relationship with money? And it probably has shaped how you view it even to this day. And so the way that I want you guys to look at money is to look at yourself as a business. And the business that I'll use, because it's right here, You can see my phone here. I have an Apple phone. So I'm pretty sure everybody's familiar with the company Apple. Apple is a profitable business. Why? Because they sell products that we all buy, they create revenue, and they use expenses like wages. So, of course, they have to have employees, they have to have buildings and products, factories, and all those things. And they make more than what the business expenses coming in are. And so, how does that pertain to you? In order to run your business, what are your basic needs? What do you need in order to live? Just basic. And so we're going to talk right now about the needs versus wants. And anybody can chime in at this point. What are basic needs that you have to have in order to just live? Housing. Somebody said food earlier. Clothes. So those are the basic necessities that any one of us here needs just to function. Where does it get challenging? When you start making those expenses be a little bit more extravagant. So let's talk about luxury items, entertainment, things that we feel that we have to have, but it's more of a want. So that would fit under lifestyle, entertainment, your phone. Some people will say that's a necessity, but unless it impacts your ability to actually live, it is a want. When we're talking about how to manage your company, you want to figure out what are your profit and losses. And that's where having a budget comes in. A budget is going to be the income that you have coming in, and that can be a number of things. That can be the money that you make at your job. It could be Social Security or disability if you are disabled. It could be child support. It could be alimony. It could be a side hustle. You could have a second job. Anything that brings money into your house, that's going to be your revenue, your income. Those expenses, the expenses are going to be pretty much what it costs to live, and what it costs to have your lifestyle. I love the sound effects. And the expenses can range. Everybody, again, is going to be different. So the main things that you're going to see on there is probably going to be rent, your electricity bill, your water bill, your phone bill, car note, insurance, pet care, child care, if you got to get your hair and nails done. Again, the list can go on. And what is the point of having a budget? Your money is supposed to work for you. So the same way that Apple brings in revenue, they do it for one or three reasons. One, to pay expenses to run the business. Two, to put money aside for rainy day situations or for opportunities, or to invest. And we work in the same manner. The income that you have coming in is going to serve those three purposes: to pay your bills or your expenses, to have money for an emergency, and we'll talk about what an emergency looks like, and to have money for opportunities. So that money is just sitting there in your bank account for those two reasons, or for the opportunity of investing to make more money. So when you think of budgeting, there are many different ways. You can be old school like me, put it on pen and paper, write out all of your expenses on one side, the money that you have coming on the other side, and take that money that's coming in, subtract the money that's going out, and hopefully at the end of the month you have more money left over. You could do it on an Excel spreadsheet if you have a bank account. If you're with Bank of America or Wells Fargo, any credit union, a lot of these financial institutions have an app in which they can help you track your spending. There's also budgeting apps like Mint or YNAB. You need a budget. There's so many different tools out there that can help you figure out where your money is going. Because just like Apple or any other business, they want to be able to account for where every dollar is going. Why? Because that money works for Apple the same way your money should be working for you. The big question is your money being proportioned or balanced to be the most effective? And the way that you can know that is by the 50-30-20 rule. So 50% of your income makes up expenses. 30% of your income makes up wants, lifestyle, and the other 20% goes to future self. The reason why I suggest checking on your budget every month is because no month is the same. Right now, we're in the summertime. That light bill or your electricity bill, is it normally higher or lower in the summer? Oftentimes it's higher. Why? Because if you're in Florida, we're burning that AC. And so where in the summertime, or excuse me, in the wintertime in December, your bill may be, for easy numbers, $50. In the summertime, it may be 100. So if you're making a budget of your expenses being a certain amount and it goes up, you need to be able to adjust accordingly. There are holidays going back to December, Christmas. I know Christmas to be an important, special time for a lot of families. I know families that I've worked with that make it a priority that they will get toys for their kids before they'll pay an actual bill because that's what's important to them. And so, how do you keep from overextending when things fluctuate? One, you set
That's what
goals. Sometimes you may need to do a little bit more of that in order to meet those bigger goals. And so once you get your budget set and you figure out, hey, I have some left over, the next thing that you're going to want to focus on is saving and investing. Now, many people say saving versus investing. And before you go on to the next slide, Rolanda, I'm going to ask a question. Which one would you choose? $1 million or the one penny doubling every day for 30 days? So if you take into account, and this is the effect of compounding interest is like the seventh wonder of the world. So as you can see, day one, you start off with a penny. Day two, day three, after a week, you got 64 cents. You're like, oh my God, he done scammed me. Let's go 2 weeks. You have $81. You're thinking, man, that meal sounds really good right about now. 3 weeks, 21 days, you got 10 grand. This is where the magic starts to happen. That 10 grand doubles, you have 20. By the time you get to 30 days, you now have over $5 million.
wow.
So what does that mean, David? Why are you showing me this graph? Because of the importance of paying yourself for tomorrow. Oftentimes we get caught up into wanting to do everything for today. We want to live in the best house. We want to drive the best car. We want to have the flyest clothes. You know, my belt has to match my shoes, and I have to have the flyest nails with the flyest hair. We want all that today, while our future self is put on the back burner. However, if you do just a little bit, starting at the age of 20, just putting a little bit away over time. In this case, if you did a little bit for 30 years and usually putting that into an investment account, it can have the same effect.
Well,
And
I'm
so
going to
that
give
is
it a thought
why
to those people who chose the penny. Apparently, we're talking with some people who might have some money savviness with them.
I believe so. Because the first time that I saw that, I was like $1 million all day. There's no way that a penny could possibly be more than 1 million in 30 days. But that's the power of compounding, being able to be patient and let the money do all the work. And so when we're talking about saving, when I was a advisor with Merrill, an advisor with Smart Wealth, most people would come to me saying, "Hey, I got a bunch of money. What do I need to do? What should I invest in?" And my first question was, if something was to happen to you today, an emergency, so you're driving on the road, your tire goes out, can you handle that? Your child is sick and you have to go to the hospital and you end up with a $500 bill. Can you handle that? Can you handle something that's outside of your normal budget? Better example, if you lose your job or you're transitioning to another job where it may take a month or two, can you handle that period of no income coming in? If you're unable to say yes to any of those questions, the first place that I recommend people putting their money is into a savings account. I know it's boring, it's not earning anything, but that's that component I was talking about as a business or thinking as a business, having that money just sitting there. So again, your money should be doing three things. It should be running your business, which are your expenses. It should be saved up for a rainy day. So if you have that flat tire or that job change, you can handle it. And it should also be sitting there for opportunities. You never want to stop at just saving, because as we saw in the last graph, investing is such a powerful and impactful tool. So once you get to a point to where you can handle 3 months of expenses, that is usually my rule of thumb, 90 days worth of expenses being covered. Meaning if you were out of work and just had to rely on what's in your savings account, you're able to do so. And I'm not talking about money in an investment or in a retirement account. The reason that you don't touch that money is because it's often tied to a penalty and taxes. Money in your bank account is money you can get today. No tax, no nothing behind it. free of charge. And so let's say you've gone to the point, you're like, David, I have money in my savings and I can handle any emergency. I have money for any opportunity that comes up. I'm ready to invest. What does that look like? Investing can be a bunch of different forms. The thing that I tell people to do is take advantage if you're at work and your employer offers a retirement account, which is usually a 401k. If you're in a nonprofit, it's a 403b, and they offer a match, which means for usually every dollar that you put in, they'll match that. And it's usually a percentage that they'll stop at. Most companies stop at about 4%. So I say start from the low-hanging fruit. Your company, if they offer a retirement account, that's a great place to start. Usually the investment account that is set up is already diversified. It's already set to where you don't have to figure out what the best companies are. When it comes to investing, I usually tell people do not invest in one company. Try to get something that represent a plethora of companies because the stock market does this number all day long. It goes up and it goes down. But historically, over time, the stock market has always gone up. And that's why it's important. Start as early, as soon as possible, putting money into an investment account. Maybe you don't want to do stocks. You can also invest in real estate. You can invest in life insurance. There are a number of things that you can invest into, businesses. However, if once you get to that point, I highly recommend that you find a financial advisor because you want to make sure that your investment goals fit in with everything else. Because the last thing you want to do is be putting money into an investment account and need that money because you don't have enough money saved up for that rainy day or something ever comes up. So it's always a process. Again, start with your budget, make sure you have an emergency fund, try to cover up to 3 months, and then put money into some type of retirement account, some type of investment vehicle that you are comfortable with, that you have some type of knowledge on. And if you don't, find yourself a financial advisor, someone that you trust, someone that can break it down to your level of understanding. So usually like your 401k, the earliest that you can take it out would be at 59 and a half. And again, it's set up for a reason. Risk management strategies. Again, my recommendation is always going to be seek a financial professional. Once you get to the point where you're looking to invest, they are going to do what's called a risk tolerance. Depending on how old you are, what stage of life you're in, you may want to be very aggressive, where you're seeking investments that can make you a lot of money, but also carry a lot of risk. The younger you are, the more risk I would say that you're able to stomach because you have time on your hand to recover if something goes bad. If you're older, you're in your 40s or 50s, or you're nearing retirement, it may make sense to be in something more conservative, something like bonds, where the return is low, but your risk is low as well because it doesn't have the same up and down fluctuation like the market does. So again, financial professional is what you're going to want to seek when you get to the point of wanting to invest.
Hey there, it's Dr. Rolanda from Bright Idea, and I want to thank you so much for tuning into our video today. If you've enjoyed what you've seen so far and you want more of where this came from, guess what? You're in luck. This is only the beginning, so make sure you're subscribed and make sure your notifications are turned on. That way, when we drop the next section of this video, you'll be one of the first to know. Thanks for tuning in and thanks for being a member of Bright Idea. Bye.